54 out of the 55 countries in Africa decide to come together and agree on the African Continental Free Trade Area. Actually, it's the largest free trade area in the world, measured by the number of countries participating. The effect of this agreement is supposed to be taking place in a progressive manner. In simple words, step by step. Starting 2020, 90% of tariff will be eliminated over a 5 year period, and 10 years for the least developed countries. And 5 years later, in 2025, tariffs on an additional 7% of tariff lines will be eliminated over a 5 year period, and for the least developed countries will be 80 years. And the trading phase is expected to begin from the 1st of January 2021 onward. This means by now 90% of all goods trading with the 54 countries in Africa will become tariff-free, even though some countries still hesitant. Carry on. This trade area connects 1.3 billion people across 54 countries with a combined gross domestic product (GDP) valued at $3 trillion. According to some specialists, this trade agreement has the potential to lift 30 million people out of extreme poverty and also could help realize more than $84 billion in untapped intra-Africa exports. Despite of that, most of those claims are just projections and some of them are just speculations. I say that because plans, predictions, and ideas are worthless if they are not backed by proper execution. For the African Continental Free Trade Area to fully materialize and unleash its full potential, it will depend on putting in place significant policy reforms, trading facilitation measures, and most importantly, how the participants execute the plan, or even their willingness to execute their part of the agreement. Anyway, aside eliminate tariff or just lift tariff across the continent, it will create incentive for inter-Africa trade. And also, it will allow the free movement of people. And those two factors is what we're gonna analyze. Let's start with the free tariff. But before we carry on, please give a like to this video. Your feedback is really important for us, and also because of the YouTube algorithm. Anyway, let's address the free tariff. Most of the world doesn't operate on the liberal principle, where you can just sell what you want, where you want, and how you want. In simple words, the world doesn't operate on the free market principle, not even the United States of America, the biggest advocate of capitalism and free market. The United States of America, just like most of countries, does not operate on free market and free competition principles. Most countries or trading blocs like the EU put tariff or barriers on products coming from the outside, especially if those foreigner goods and services are better and cheaper than what is available in the local market. Countries resort to this type of practice to protect their local industries for potential competition or even bankruptcy. And African countries are not the exception to the rules. Actually, they have very protectionist tendencies. And that was one of the main reasons why intertrade between Africa was not common. Because, let's be honest, if you're a business person, why would you do business with your neighbor when the outside world offers a better deal? When I say a better deal, I mean it. Let's start with infrastructure. The infrastructure for inter-African trade are subpar at best or just not there. In particular, between the Central African countries. And then there's the bureaucracy or just the paperwork. The bureaucracy in Africa to do business is just a major turnoff. Those two factors or problems that I mentioned are more than enough to turn away any African business owner. Like, why would you do business with them and waste your time and resources when you can do business outside in Europe and US? But now that there's no more tariffs, people can start and operate their business wherever they feel comfortable and then scale to the whole continent. It is actually a good thing. It will force African countries to be more competitive when it comes to attract business, entrepreneur, and talent. Because if they don't do it, Those same entrepreneurs, business people, and talents can just go to the neighbor countries and then sell back that same product or service to that same market that was making their life difficult. However, this free trade agreement with no tariff or barrier whatsoever will create a big problem, also known as winner take all. This means that the most advanced country in the continent will dominate or just mug the countries that are still developing or in the infant phase of industrialization. So, countries that already have a strong business base, infrastructure, and talents will dominate countries that are still maturing or that are not ready yet. This type of scenario will make it extremely difficult for those infant countries to develop their local industries. And most of their talent will just move to those countries that are already strong or kinda developed. And this brings us to our next point. Free movement of people. This is actually a tricky part. The thing is, Africa is not ready for the free movement of people. We still have a lot of war in the continent, without forgetting those extremist organizations and also those African countries that have military base, actually foreigner military base in their territory. Let's suppose the free movement of people is signed. The most developed and stable countries in Africa will receive a flow of immigrants, and this will create instability in those receiver countries and also resentment by the local that feel like foreigners are taking their jobs. This area still need a lot of attention, but the free movement of people is a must. Africans should be able to travel within Africa without much of problem, or even when come to get a job, they should be able to get job in Africa, in any Africa country, without much troubles. Just like most European countries, there's the free movement of people, and when come to job, they give priority to the locals and then to the citizens of European countries, and only later to people outside of the Union. There's one more thing that we must pay attention. Most members of this continental free trade zone are part of some sort of regional free trade agreement, and also they signed a lot of bilateral agreements with the countries within Africa and outside of Africa. Example, countries like Ghana and Ivory Coast have a bilateral agreement with the EU and also are supposed to join a regional free trade agreement known as ECOWAS, while are part of the Africa Free Trade Zone. This is just one example. Most African countries that join the African Free Trade Zone are also in the same situation. They have the regional agreement such as SADC, East African Community, MENA, which stands for Middle East and North African Regional Trade, and also the most talked one, ECOWAS. And aside from those regional agreements, those African countries also have bilateral agreements with the country in Africa and outside of Africa. And here on top, we have to count the multiple trade deals and debt that most African countries have with the countries outside of Africa, in particular China. This scenario alone left us wondering how the Africa Free Trade Zone gonna operate in those circumstances. I did not even mention the Francophone countries with their funny currency and monetary strategies. That's another sham itself. Anyway, if those issues are not addressed properly, it will be like saying, Africa is open, now you can shop for natural resource like you are in a grocery store. You might start with aluminum in South Africa, and then you can take your car to Angola section. There's no tariff or barrier. You can just enter with your truck or shopping cart as if you're in a new section of the shop, and then you can move to Congo section and take your sweet cobalt. And also, if you need fertilizer, you can just go to the north section and look for Morocco brands. And finally, you can exit for any door that you wish. You might exit to the Suez door. Or, if you are carrying a lot of products, you might just exit to the Mombasa gate. It's a big gate, by the way, and don't worry, there's no barriers or tariff. You can do as you please. Do you see how dangerous it might get? But that's not even the worst part. Those countries that have bilateral agreements with the countries that are not part of the Africa Continental Free Trade Zone will become a backdoor for countries outside of Africa. Those backdoors might allow countries outside of the free trade zone to dump their excess production in the continent and then sell to the whole continent. Now, it's not an Africa Free Trade Agreement or Free Trade Zone anymore, but an Africa Free Trade Zone with the countries that have bilateral agreement with a member of the Africa Free Trade Zone. That's why I say there's a need to be an institution, or just to create an institution, a serious institution, to address this type of problem. And this institution must be backed by a constitution that all the members approve it. Otherwise, this free trade zone will have a lot of problems. Anyway, those are just some of the points that must be taken in consideration when it comes to free trade zone and free movement of people. But it's still a very recent event, and there's not much information to form a conclusive opinion or argument. So we should wait. And also, the speed that those African leaders are taking this matter, it's easy for us to assume that we might get to March 1st before even they reach a proper agreement. So let's just see how it goes. Give your opinion. What do you think about it?